Hello, day 4 of the art unit. Crazy that we're flying along with this. It's pretty crazy how quick we're getting by. So yeah, today is day 4. We're now talking about the background, and we might as well go over midground and foreground as well. But mainly, I want to talk about the background as we're doing a final project on that, but I will go through midground and foreground. So make sure to subscribe and like the video, turn on notifications so you don't miss another video from me, and comment. So first thing before I dive into this, on I would like to mention something before I dive in. On day 2 and 3 of my art unit videos, I noticed someone liking my video. So if that's you, feel free to comment, don't stay mysterious. Please comment down below in my video, like, hey, it's me, and maybe you'll be in the video. I don't know. Anyways, now that that's out of the way, first what I want to show you guys is I found some art videos on background, foreground, and midground. It was kind of hard to find just one relating to background, but I found 5 here, and I'm gonna show you guys it really quick. So there is this one. I found 3 on the same kind of channel, and then 2 on separate channels. So this one is art concepts, foreground and background. So this just talks about 2 of the 3 backgrounds. So this is a really good resource that doesn't talk about all of them. Next is also foreground and background, really cool, especially because we're going to be painting for the final project. So like videos like these are really helpful. Again, foreground and background for painters, which is, something we are going to be doing for our project. So also really helpful. This one goes over some backgrounds. It shows some pictures and it identifies where the foreground, middle ground, and background is. So this is really, really helpful to identify where your backgrounds are. So if that's you, please watch this. And then how to paint a background. This is really good because we are going to be painting for the final project, like I said. So this goes over how to paint one, tips and stuff. So yeah, I really recommend you guys watching that and all those videos to kind of understand what is foreground, what is background, what is middle ground, and especially the 4th one where it identifies where the background is, where the midground is, and where the foreground is. So really, really helpful. Let's switch to the document camera. Today we're going to be diving in more into this book. I'm going to be, playing around with it, showing you guys some backgrounds, and we're going to be talking about it. And I did notice for last time that the the camera quality was like really, really laggy. So I do apologize for that. Um, but if it's laggy, let me know in the comments down below, and I will try to figure out another way to show this. So, let's dive in to backgrounds. Let's talk about the beginning background. So let's talk about this bleed right here. So we notice Anne's having a party, still part of their normal life, so when their lives are normal. Here, oh my God, I might be catching a cold. I don't know. Who knows? Here we see a background of a sky and clouds and birds in the background. Okay, in the midground, we're kind of seeing some. I don't know if the midground would be this or the plants. So that's kind of debatable where to find the midground and foreground. Um, and of course we have like the houses and stuff. So that might be the foreground, but I'm not too sure. Next, and I'm gonna give you guys a minute to figure out in this background what is in the midground and foreground, because we kind of know what's background. So what is in the midground and foreground here? I'm gonna give you guys a second to figure out what is in the midground and what is in the foreground. Take a second to figure out what do we see in this picture right here? Well, we see prisoners here. We see a guard. We see boxes. So what could be going on here? Okay, so background, obviously, we can see the dark background. What's closest to us is the foreground. So we could say the guard right here. And then midground would be like this pyramid thing and the prisons. So if you got that one correct, comment down below. Real quick with this background, obviously we can see multiple colors with this background. We can obviously see black, red, and gray in the background. Midground, we can see the tracks, and then the train as the foreground. Really quick, what is this trying to show us here? What could this be relating to? We can see that we have, I think that is Anne's sister in the train, along with others and some goats. So what is this trying to tell us? We see that she looks a little bit scared, and this text here, we all know what to call it for the Nazi SS's, but I also knew father would never let it happen. So she might be scared in the train. The background might be related into that. Comment down below, what could this be trying to tell us? What are the ghosts in the train? What are they representing or symbolizing? Oh my god, guys, I meant to catch it for Same for this one. What could this background be symbolizing? I don't care if mother dies, and then they kind of show some text in kind of like Arabic or Hebrew maybe. Um so comment down below, what could the sky here representing? You can see a sad scene here, it looks like a mother dies. Because of the text. What could this gray sky be representing? Could it be representing like it's a sad moment? So like gray does represent sad. So like maybe the sky could be going gray for that, because that's what they could all be feeling. Definitely, for sure. We're gonna take a look at another one. This is another great example right here through the window. I don't know if you guys can see that. But in the window, I don't know if we have like a zoom in technically. There we go. How far can we zoom in? Pretty far, holy crap. How? It's still going. We don't need to go that far. But in the window here, what do we see? Okay, we see in the background, it's a blue sky. Background, we see some mountains. Or yeah, that's kind of like in the midground. No, the grass might be the midground. Mountains might be the foreground, or the trees here that are closest to us might be the foreground. Zooming out. Taking a look at another background, and then I'll find one for you guys here. This one's interesting to go over because it doesn't show a background here. I'll come back to this to have a discussion on. Let's take a look at this one. And then we'll move into this one. So again, background here, the sky and the clouds. Midground, we obviously have the sheet, and then closest to us is probably people. Now, discussion question in the comments below. Why didn't we get a background view? What could possibly be the background? Because we don't have a guess on what the background could be. We just got a midground and we got a foreground, maybe. It's kind of hard to identify where your midground and foreground is. Midground would be probably the grass, as it's still kind of in the middle here. Like if you would picture if there were a background here, it'd be like a blue sky. Grass would definitely be the midground, and then foreground would be the people. This is like a bird's eye view, so it's kind of hard to identify where your backgrounds are. Next, we're just going over a few so I don't make the video too long. What about this thing? This one's a little bit hard to identify too, but what is the subject? What's going on here? You can see there is a war. We can see there is a kind of a flag right here, but we can't really tell what flag that is, even if we zoom in, it's kind of blurry. So they're having a war. They have it looks to be like soldiers. I don't know if that's the Vietnam Star or something. I'm not too sure what that is. But from the text, it shows us yet another reason for optimism on Peter's birthday. The Russian city of Stalingrad still hasn't fallen into the German hands, so it looks like they might be having a war with Russia, maybe. You know, this text right here. So background here would be the gray sky and the clouds, and then the fumes from the bombs might be in the midground, maybe, might be foreground. These soldiers definitely foreground. Buildings and fumes probably in the midground. Building might be reaching towards the background. But what could the background be telling us here? gray. There is fumes from the bombs, smoke from the bombs. So comment down below. What do you think? I think it's telling us that they're in a war and it's intense war going on as we can see bombs and the sky is all covered in, smoke. So we can't really see the blue sky behind me because it's all covered in smoke. So it's really, really intense. We have another one here where it doesn't really show background. It shows, foreground would be people, and then midground would be the ground. Okay, he's being surrounded by German soldiers. So another one here, but it's not a bird's eye view. I'd just say it's like a camera angle. Next up, we're gonna cover a few more. There is ones that I do want to cover though. Ones like this where we're not really giving them background. Okay, as we're gonna be reading this, we're not gonna be really be there's some pages that don't really focus on the background. So we can obviously tell it's a rainy setting. So we got the setting down. This has a background. Okay, this is like slight background. We can kind of tell it's like a gray, sad background. This where you're just given the midground and the foreground, and we can obviously tell where the setting is, but the background gives like a more detailed explanation. Um, few more. Let's do this picture right here. So, what is the background? Take a second to think about that. What is the foreground? What is the midground? So, what is the background? The background is a night sky. We can see some blackness, some grayness peeking in. Midground would be, or the foreground would be the people as they're closest to us. Midground would be this ground right here. And we can obviously see the homeless people right here. We don't really know why they're acting homeless because the text doesn't really tell us. Okay. I don't know if I want to. This is another one. It's a full bleed. Not really a background here. Maybe the background could be the attic that they're hiding in. Um, these are burglars, obviously not the Nazis. They're burglars. But we don't really know where they're hiding. But it looks to be some sort of basement, and then they're hiding in the attic. So, of course, we got the midgrounds, the ground, and then foreground would be the burglar right here. What else? What else? Let's take a look at this one while they're sitting. So we don't really get a clue on why the author made them animals here, but we kind of get a hint in the text where it says, "I shall continue to describe for you what life in annex looks like today." Um, so we can see their animals here. These are speech bubbles or thought bubbles. Um, but my guess is because the Nazis treated the Germans like animals here, they might be referring to that because they're treating like animals here. They're kind of locked up, hiding. So that could be my guess why they're animals here, because they're being treated like them. They don't get a lot of freedom in this time. So let's talk about while they're sitting, and we can obviously see the people or the animals in the foreground. Um, Background could be like the cage they're in, representing the annex, obviously. And then midground probably be the table. And this one might be a little bit hard. Background, we can see them ascending into heaven from hell. I don't know if the text give us some hints what the scene is depicting, but we can obviously see a light background to dark background. It's kind of like light to dark sort of thing. We can see fire, we can see their family, we can see clouds, and then we can see heaven creeping in. Try to see if there's anything else to cover. All right, let's cover some scenes in the actual hiding place. So, this one we don't get a background, but we can like obviously kind of guess what the background here is. So, background could be the wall color, obviously, midground, probably the ground, and then the foreground would be the family here. Comment down below if you agree or disagree. It's okay to agree, disagree. Yes, there's some nudity in this book. I apologize for that. But there is gonna be some nudity in this graphic novel. I very apologize for that. And all right, I'm gonna freeze this and let you guys think about what you think about this one right here. Um, what could be the background here? What could be the foreground and what could be the midground right here? Because what we see here is um people escaping on boats. It looks to be like a flood came in. Obviously the text um yeah, it says anything to prevent it even flood the country. So it looks like the country has flooded. We're gonna see people trying to escape. So background here is definitely the gray sky as it's on a cloudy day. Looks to be like a sad background to me. The people on the tree could be the foreground, and then midground is all the water that is surrounding them or flooding. Next background, we have this man right here, and I forget who this is, and the text does not say who this is. Um, this might be Peter. Um, I forget if it's Anne's boyfriend or just friend. But in the text it says Peter. So again, what is in the background, the foreground, and the midground? Yeah, this might be Peter. So background, obviously we can tell um that it's just sort of mixed colors. It's gray, it's brown. You can see hints of gold. Sort of the clouds colors, but you can see a little sneak peek of the sky. Foreground would be Peter, obviously, and then midground would be all the brown sky and probably the or not the all the brown ground. And then probably the cat would be probably foreground. Okay, this is the one I want to talk about right here. Obviously, in the background, we can see a blue sky, but then a plane crashed on the side of the building, so we can see some um bomb fumes or like smoke fumes from the crash. Obviously there was no bomb involved. I do not know why the soldier is shooting it. Maybe they're shooting it the parachutes down, probably. Um, as we can see, like the trajectory of where they're pointing. Or and then so we can see the sky is blue right now. But this, as I'm predicting, all of the black smoke will probably fill the sky. Foreground would be the soldiers, and then I would say the people running, but they're not as close to us as the soldiers are. And then midground, we can obviously see um the ground right there. Most of the time, midground will will be the ground. Almost done here. Let's have you guys think about this one. What is in the background? What is in the midground? And what is in the foreground? And what is happening in this scene right now? So, as we can see, there are people plugging their noses. And let's see if we can get in on that text here. We always need some text. As it says, and now it's BBA, brown beans, April, beans in my body, in my mind, in my soul. Imagine the entire world fueled by beans. So that's probably why they're covering their noses there. As we can see, some smoke covering the entire sky, so there's no like hints of like sky color here. Not really. Not as much. We can see a brown sky, so that would be the background. Foreground would definitely be all the people, and then you can see slight ground, kind of slight ground here. We can obviously tell that the ground is green here. And then what could be happening here? Why why are there a lot of beans in the first place? There's a lot of questions to be asking ourselves. And then we'll get a lot of scenes like this of I believe this might be and again we get scenes with no backgrounds in them. So take a second. What is the midground here, or what is the foreground? Because we can obviously take out the background. There is no background. So what is in the midground? What is in the foreground here? We'll give a second of silence. Try to let you guys figure that out. And once you figure it out, comment down below what you think it could be. So it might be the desk as the midground here. Okay, background could be the pictures on the wall and the wall itself, the wall color. And then foreground is definitely and if this is and I think it is probably an older version of her. With this one too. We're not really given we're given background, but we're not like given a um midground here. So we can see the guy is obviously somewhere. I thought I turned, but I don't know where he is. Maybe at a restaurant. So we can see ground here, so that might be the foreground. Background could be the sky. The mountain could probably be part of the background, although I'm gonna call it foreground as it's kind of close to us. The person is more closer than the mountain is. So I don't know. Let me know what you guys think of this. I'm not too sure, but it's always up for debate. And then there's a few more ones. Cover. Sorry, you guys have to hear me. Yeah, a lot of this art will be hearing me. Yeah, but we're just kind of skimming through the whole book, and we're actually almost done here. Moment silence for this one. What could be happening here with this one? Okay, what is the background here? What is the foreground, and what is the midground? All right, so kind of hard for background here. Background could be probably the sky here, as we can see some shadows, some black shadows, so that could be it. The ocean in the background too might be it. Midground, kind of tough because the ground is kind of hidden too. But we could say this ground right here and the foreground would be probably the plains as they're closer than the people are, or this right here, what they're on. Kind of hard to tell, but again, let's have another practice with this one. We got a few more pieces. This one right here, again, another moment of silence. as we are having some practice of this. So, background, we can see a bluish, grayish sky here. Midground, the ground here, and then foreground. Also, we have people, we have the guards. Not too sure why they're in England here because, they died in the Holocaust and they never, they didn't get to flee the country, I think, because of, they wouldn't let them leave. You can only leave for, if you were, like, this type of person. I literally forgot, but I'm pretty sure they didn't get to go anywhere. They all died in Germany where they lived. So they all got caught too. So I don't know um why they're written here. I'm not too sure. But I should know. I know the entire story of the Holocaust. Um, all right, we're approaching on our last one as most of these rest of these pages are text. Yeah. All right, kind of our last background practice. Let's go over this one first. This is Hitler himself. Let's go over this one first. As we're not really given a background, what you guys think of it or for a second? All right, so I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Well, why couldn't people leave during the Holocaust? Yeah, it doesn't show easily. But basically, what it says is restrictions on leaving the country. Okay, so they were really, really strict about that. I think he might have had to get like a visa or something. I'm not too sure. But there were a lot of rules saying, hey, you can't leave. So, um, background here, maybe the darkness. I'm not too sure. Might be the explosion happening. Foreground might be Hitler himself, and then midground, we are not really given a midground, so it's like maybe the strokes here, but other than that, we are not really given a midground. Lastly, let's talk about these three scenes right here. What is in the background? What can we see in the background here? Here we can see, a dark sky. We can see some gray patches here. I think those might be resembling buildings, I think. I'm not too sure. Background here, we can see the blue sky, clouds, and sun. And then background here, we can see blue sky. Midground, ground. Midground here, the ground. Midground here, the ground. Foreground, be the people, the Soviet soldiers. Foreground, probably the Nazis. And then same here, all the people, the soldiers, the men. And then these three scenes right here. Background, we can see like same background, orange sky, some smoke fumes. Ground, midground, foreground would be all the soldiers. Same here, we're not really given a background, and you're not really like given a sneak peek of the background. So obviously we can tell it's orange sky, but we're not really given that here. Midground, ground, and then soldiers foreground. And that's really it for our practice today. This is the rest of this is just like text. So there isn't really much to practice here as we skimmed through the whole book. We can talk about the cover too. So you cover background, let's say the ceiling and the sky, maybe the smoke in the background, ground, and then the objects closest to us are the people, and is the foreground. So that's going to be our practice for today. Tomorrow we're also going to be skimming through the whole book tomorrow. Talk about character development. Same thing, I'll find at least like 5 videos or 3 of character development in the book. So that will be really, really fun, exciting. It's more of me lecturing, so that will be fun as well. Really, really fun. I'm excited when we dive into the art. That will be, I think, next week, as we're talking about, we're going to be going over the faces, I believe. Someone double recheck it for me, if I'm wrong or not. So that will be it for today's video. Hope you guys liked it or not. A lot of this for this week will be me lecturing, so I apologize for that. Next week won't be really me lecturing. It will be kind of like, it will be a lecture, but it will be also a like how do you describe it? A lesson too, so not just it's participation too, so that'll be really fun as well. So hope you guys enjoyed that. Make sure to subscribe, comment down below, as I told you guys to comment certain stuff below and like the video. One more thing, if you're that person liking my videos, comment, please. Don't be rude, don't be anonymous, please comment. I always enjoy your comments. I read them every time I'm on YouTube, which I'm pretty active on YouTube, so if you comment, I will likely see it within the first few seconds that it gets published, so that will really be fun. And this wraps up day 4 of the art units. Alrighty, I will see you guys tomorrow for the character development. Bye-bye.